Hello, class. Sorry for the poor recording quality here, but I just wanted to make a quick introductory video for the class since we are asynchronous. We're not going to meet in person or via Zoom. So I just wanted to run down some things about the course. Essentially, just a brief introduction. I want to go over how to tackle each week's lesson, basic overview of navigating our Sakai site, just a little bit of the details of this first week's lesson. I want to give a preview of the next couple weeks and what to expect. And then I'd like to just finish up with how to contact me and how we might be able to communicate over the course of the semester. Okay, so since this isn't a class, this is just an introductory video, I think it makes sense to not waste a lot of time here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share screen and I'm going to go to our Sakai page. All right. First, I'd like to just say it's a little bit awkward for me. I usually have other people in the room when I'm on Zoom. So it does kind of feel like I'm talking to myself. But I promise as the semester goes and I make more of these videos, I'll try to get better at it. Okay, so without further ado, we're in composition and research, RIT 300. So if you've taken RIT 101 or RIT 200, this course builds off of those skills. And on your own time, hopefully really soon, if not today, you'll go ahead and you'll read through our course introduction. And I'm not going to read all this to you guys, but I do want to give you the overview here. So in short, if you've been in any of our other writing classes here at UB, this one also is based on the portfolio model. We also focus on the concept of discourse community. We also will have rhetorical analysis and research as part of this course. But for now, we're going to start off pretty light. But before we even get into the lesson, I would like to just talk about navigating the site. Okay, so there are a few tools over here that will be your probably main go-tos this semester. I just want to identify those real fast. So lessons, that's going to be a big one. I would suggest coming onto Sakai at the beginning of each week and clicking on the lessons tab to find what you're supposed to do that week. Discussion forums, you'll be there every week. Assignments are linked through the lessons, but you can also access your assignments through this assignment tab. The grade book may be useful for you if you want to check on your grades. We're not going to be meeting on Zoom, but if you schedule a meeting with me, which I'll talk about before we end here, here's your Zoom link for meetings. Those should be the main things that you'll be using as a student. Also, our syllabus. You're going to access this week, hopefully soon, which leads us into what this first week's lesson will be all about. Okay, so just a quick review. Here's where you access your syllabus, the course schedule, student resources. Just click on it. So what you should do this week, the first thing is come in here, find your syllabus, download it, go over it carefully. You can also find the course schedule that's subject to change if anything comes up or whatever, but I wouldn't count on it changing very much, if at all. So you could look at this to get a good one document that shows you what are we doing each week and what's due that week. We also have our academic calendar down here and a link to student resources, which could be useful to you if you have questions about things as a student in general. All right. I'm going to go to our lessons link last because that's where I would think we should hang out a little bit more. But let's go down here, just show you real fast the assignments page. You'll notice, I don't know if they're all visible to you guys yet at the time of recording this, but they are all visible to me. All these assignments are going to come up on the, they should all be visible to you actually. All these assignments, you can look at them well in advance. These are all your major assignments and their elements over the course of the semester. This will be our first one, the assignment 1. That'll come available in a couple of weeks, and you have a good amount of time to work on this one. I'm not going to jump too far ahead in regards to all of our assignments over the course of the semester, but you can, if you like, feel free to go in and check them out. I do want to just go in and look at one real fast. It should be pretty similar for all of them. But if you go into the assignment, you'll find the assignment instructions. And you could also, for each assignment, the rubric is available for you to be able to download and see how your assignment will be graded. Okay. Discussion forums. Again, in the lesson, each lesson links to the appropriate discussion forum, but you can go ahead and click that link and it will take you to the discussion forum page, which has all of the discussions. So up here, we have ask the instructor. You could use that if you have a question, but actually I'd rather you just send me a message through Sakai. If you would like to introduce yourself, you have our introductions thread here. But here's where we start. General comments and questions. In reality, though, down here is where we're really going to be living in this discussion forum. Each week you will have a discussion prompt that you need to respond to within that week and then comment on 2 of your classmates' responses for full credit. All right. Some of these are locked. They'll be unlocked by time it's time for you to do them. Each week we have reading responses. So you're not each week, I'm sorry. 5 weeks, 5 out of our 14 weeks that we meet, or sorry, we don't, 15 weeks that we don't meet. Sorry, guys. I said 14 that we meet because in a normal semester, we have 14 meetings in 1 week is either spring break or Thanksgiving. So anyway, for each reading, you have a reading response that's also found in the discussion forums. That note, it's also linked through the lesson if you have one. And we also have peer review forums. So that's where you will do your virtual workshops with your classmates. And we'll talk about how those work as we get closer to the first one. Okay. So discussion forums are going to be an important part of this class. And what happened? Grade book if you want to check your grades. All right, let's go into the lessons. So if you've caught my previous messages, I asked you to look at the before we begin lesson, before we begin. And if you are watching this on our first day of the semester, which would be August 30th, this is our first week's lesson. So, for example, it's Monday, it's the first week of class. Go ahead, click in here, and we'll get an idea of what we need to get accomplished this week. All right, so for each week, you're going to find an overview, everything that's due, and kind of just a rundown of what you should do to be successful in the week. So review the syllabus over here in the link. Now there's a syllabus quiz that's worth 10 points. So if you read the syllabus carefully and you do the quiz, you should be pretty up to speed on expectations for the class, okay? This will be due Sunday. There's a grammar diagnostic, so that will help you determine strengths in your grammar and possible weaknesses in your grammar. That is not a graded quiz, but it is useful for you as a writer, and also for me to see where you stand. So even though it doesn't have points associated with it, do take the grammar diagnostic. It's going to be helpful to both you and I. And then we have our first discussion forum. All right. So your main goals this week are pretty few. Read and familiarize yourself with the syllabus. Take the quiz and the diagnostic. Here's a link for your results and resources. And then we have a discussion prompt. And I'm sorry, my screen's jumping every time I try to move it. So you'll go through, answer these prompts. So each week there will be a different discussion prompt. And then each week, the link to the discussion forum where you answer would be linked below the prompt. You just go ahead and click on that. It'll take you to the appropriate discussion forum. And then to answer, you will hit start a new conversation. That'll give you the option to leave your post, give it a title, answer the prompt, post, and then go ahead and reply to 2 of your classmates' posts. Expectations for discussion forum replies and posts are found in the syllabus. So first, read through the syllabus, take the syllabus quiz. Second, do the diagnostic. Then third, go ahead and participate in the discussion forum. And having read the syllabus, you'll know the expectations for how much you should write in your posts, what is an appropriate way to respond to your classmates, etc. All right, so that is this week. So we touched on brief intro to what the class is, composition and research, building on what you've learned previously as writers, how to go about this current week's lesson. Now I would just like to share screen one more time. Share. So I'm going to go back out into the main lessons link or page here. So for each week in this class, you will have a number of activities to work on and assignments or discussions, etc., to complete, readings to respond to, what have you. So I would like you to take note that each week in this class is, it begins on a Monday and it ends on a Sunday. Okay. So let's just jump into next week, and this will kind of be a segue into looking into the future a little bit. So by the end of this week, what's due is the completed discussion forum and the quiz and the grammar diagnostic. Okay. So when we go into next week, so next week begins Monday, September 6th, and it ends Sunday, September 12th. And by Sunday, September 12th, you will have read A Rhetoric of Literate Action, Chapter 1, and you will post your reading response. And you will have read A History of Rhetoric and completed the week 2 discussion. So this week is your introduction into rhetoric. Now, if you've been in the Writing 200 courses, or I believe they touch on rhetoric in Writing 101, if you were in that class, it's been quite a number of years since I taught that one. You should have already had a solid introduction to rhetoric and rhetorical analysis. But if this is your first writing class at UB, there's a chance that maybe this is your first introduction into rhetoric. So it's we introduce you to rhetoric here as well. So what you would notice in this lesson is there's more content in the actual lesson than the week 1 lesson. And that's because this lesson, we are introducing you to a new concept. And in the previous lesson, we're more introducing you to the class. So we're easing in this time. Read through the lesson. I'm not going to give it all away here. But again, by that Sunday, what is due would be your reading response and the link week 2 discussion. Okay. So week 1, introduction to the course. Week 2, introduction to rhetoric. Now let's just look forward one more week. I don't want to go too far ahead. We have introduction to the concept of discourse communities. If you have, if this is your first writing class at UB, again, if you've been in Writing 200 or Writing 101, you have had an introduction to discourse communities. You've probably written a paper or 2 about discourse communities. And if you have taken those previous classes and you thought you were getting away from discourse communities, I'm sorry, we are still talking about discourse communities. That said, in my opinion, it's a worthwhile concept to be aware of. Okay, so in this 3rd week, we go from Monday, September 13th, until Sunday, September 19th. Now you'll notice all of these due dates are by Sunday, okay? And you can begin your first assignment in this week, but that won't be due for a little while, okay? The due date is here, but it's not due that Sunday. It's the beginning of this assignment. And we'll talk more about that come week 3. But you've been introduced to, at this point, you've been introduced to rhetoric. You've been introduced to the discourse community if you're following the lessons. And you get to begin your first assignment. And you'll note, here is your lesson in week 3. A little bit less to read than week 2, but if you can probably tell a little bit more than week 1. All right, so I don't want to go ahead and start trying to, I don't want to jump ahead and start focusing too much on week 2 and week 3 and beyond at this point. What's important now is week 1. But I do want to go ahead and discuss another topic, which is related. I'm going to take it off share for now. So there's the overview of how we should move forward in this class week to week. I would strongly suggest accessing your weekly lesson on Monday, then spending some time planning out your activities. One of the best ways to ensure success in this class is to have a plan. You will have as we move forward and we start getting more and more into the assignments, you are going to be writing every week. So starting now, that is in terms of discussion posts, reading responses, etc. But as we move forward, you're also going to be more and more working on actual assignments, and you will also have the discussion forums, etc. So it's going to be very important for you to get on the Sakai site, plan your week, plan when you're going to work on these assignments, plan when you're going to outline. We have an assignment in the future where you're going to have to interview somebody. So it might also be worthwhile to look ahead a little bit so you can plan out as long as you want. Now, when it comes to looking ahead, each week, I'm going to send you a message that kind of gives you a rundown of what to expect that week, reminders, etc. I'll also likely be posting more content. I might either send that to you via Sakai messages. I might post it directly into a lesson. I will make more of these types of videos. There won't be one every week in this class, but for example, making a video for this week to introduce how to tackle the course. I may make a video when there's a new assignment to kind of run down those expectations. I may send presentations that are not in the lessons already. So as much as you may look ahead at what's to come, so assignment deadlines, major work, all that's up there and that's not going to change. But you may get more materials added on to any given week actually in the lesson or sent to you via messages. So try not to get so far ahead that you are working like in-depth working on say week 5 while we're in week 3, because there's probably going to be more sent to you to look at to give you a better leg up on the work, etc. as we get to week 5. And I'm just using week 5 as an example of any week. Also, when it comes to our communication, I think that we're getting to my last note here. When it comes to our communication, send me your messages through Sakai messages rather than email. It discusses this in the syllabus. I've mentioned it already in my original communication to the class. There's reasons why we want to use Sakai messages, mostly to do with keeping things organized, keeping the classes messages all in one place so they're not lost in the endless pit of my email inbox. So please, please, please send your messages to me through Sakai. Here, I'm gonna share screen one more time just to, okay, so go down here to messages. I don't think I noted this tab when I was going through your most used tools here, but this should be one of your most used tools actually. So to contact me, go to messages, compose message. Find me in the list here. Go ahead and select send a copy to my email if you like. That's fine. But the original message should come through Sakai, not through my email. Give it a title, give me a question, add any attachments if necessary, and hit send. Now, I may see it pop up if you select send also to email. I may see it pop up in my email before I find it on Sakai. Now, what I am going to do, if I see this pop up in my email, I'm going to come to Sakai and I'm going to respond through Sakai messages. I would like you to do the same. So if I send you a Sakai message, I am going to hit send also to email, unless I forget. But 9 times out of 10, I'm going to hit also send to email. Do not respond directly to that email. Do what I'm going to do. See the email, go to Sakai, respond in Sakai messages. The only reason I'm selecting this is because I want to ensure you find the message. I absolutely do not want you to respond to me via email. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen a lot. That's why I'm being so emphatic about it right now, because I really would like as many of you as possible to avoid sending me emails to the inbox. Send them through Sakai messages. So I'm sorry I kind of went on about that, maybe a little bit too long. So last thing before I end this video, I just want to do a quick overview. Navigating Sakai, lessons, that's your main link in this class. The assignment tabs and discussion tab, they will get you to your assignments and the discussions, but if it's due that week, it's also linked through the lesson. So still the lesson's the main one. If you email me, as I just went on for a little while, go through Sakai messages. So that's also going to be a useful tab in this class. The syllabus, you need to access this. You need to access that this week. I would say might not hurt to print it out and download it if you want quick reference at some point. Went over this week's lesson. We know what's to expect. And then moving forward, and our first assignment will come available in a couple of weeks, and that'll be in regard to rhetorical analysis. Do expect messages from me at least weekly. You should expect my messages to come in the beginning of each week. So I may start doing them on Sunday afternoons, evenings, or Monday mornings / afternoons. But somewhere in that beginning of the week, you should expect to see a message come to me through Sakai that gives a basic rundown of what you should expect and what you should plan for that week. You should also expect, not every week, but some weeks, a new video to come up if I think it would be useful, maybe a new presentation, maybe some other materials. So try not to get too far ahead, even though it's an asynchronous class, and one of the good things about this class is you can set your own pace to a point, because we don't want the pace you're setting yourself to be slower than what the class requires based on its deadline. So always make sure that you are getting your stuff in by the due date. Because I also, before I let you all go, I should make it very clear that the easiest way to fall behind in this class, to get your grade thrown off, for this to become a challenge for you, is to miss due dates, to fall behind. So the due dates are hard due dates. Get the stuff done by time it needs to get done. You're going to be working with a writing group. Although virtual, you guys aren't going to meet each other live. And we're going to talk about this more down the road. But when you complete a first draft of your assignment, you're going to post it into a workshop forum. You're going to have a group where you read each other's work, give each other feedback to apply to your next revision. So it's important that we're meeting these due dates and that everybody is working at the same or similar pace as the rest of the class, at least as far as when you're getting your stuff turned in. If you're late, if you miss a workshop, then you're falling behind the class and you're also going to fall behind in your grade. So I'll say it again. It is vitally important that you get on Sakai the beginning of the week, take note of what's due, take note of the due dates, and plan effectively to meet those due dates. Lateness is not going to be good for you in this class, okay? So just do your best to have things done on time. Okay, with all that said, I think it's a good time to wrap up this video. I feel like maybe I already went on too long. If you have other questions that I didn't answer in this video, and this holds true for the remainder of the semester, just go ahead, send me a message through Sakai. I'll either answer it in writing or we could schedule a Zoom, face-to-face Zoom discussion. I wouldn't, if I were you, I would not expect to email me, say, on a Tuesday, and we're having our Zoom meeting an hour later. So try, if you think that you're going to want to meet with me for something that is time sensitive. So you, for example, you want to discuss or you want to get a little bit more insight into an assignment that you know because it's posted is due on a Sunday, you're better off emailing me for that Zoom conference on Monday. So there's enough time for us to schedule the meeting, sit down, have a talk, get your questions answered, and then you still have time to work to have your assignment accomplished by that Sunday, okay? Avoid asking for extensions on work. It's important that we are working with the rest of the class. There's not going to be, oh, you get an extra week, oh, you get an extra 2 weeks. Be on time. That's the plan, okay? Okay, with all that said, I'm going to end this recording. I'm going to post it on week 1, and you all will hear from me again soon. I'll send you all a message pretty regularly. All right, have a good semester. I look forward to hearing from you all. Thanks.